Welcome to the next in our How to Handicap series. This is advanced topic, how to handicap halftime betting in the late season of college basketball. Okay, VR, I'm just going to learn here. So what's your first point
This
on
one
this?
should be on pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We've been doing a lot of second half talking. Via my newsletters, I put together a series on beating the second half market, and I've gotten a lot of questions asked. A lot of sharp guys out there.
Okay, so just real quick, on your newsletter, it's morningmoves.com.
Correct.
You can get it for $1 a day.
Correct.
And you get the first week for $1 just to check it out. And you give picks.
Yeah, they get plays every day and a ton of information.
Enough selling. Not selling.
I'm not selling, just telling them what you're missing if you ain't getting
Oh, that's a good point.
If you're not getting down with the morning moves. It's just the education alone. But seriously, and I've been twittering a lot of second half plays and some of the reasoning behind it, and just the response has been overwhelming. So
you're saying you got 70 or so?
Yeah, 77 alone yesterday.
Just people asking
questions. Yeah, on second halves, and it's just really taken off. I think people are starting to really grasp the concept, and what I love about it is it's simple.
All right, so give us the first key
Early
point.
on in the season, bottom line, you got to be able to separate early season from the late season.
Okay.
Early season, you get your edge by being stronger than the odds makers. Let me break it to you this way. If you look at the projection, the preseason projections, the pollsters, what did they have? Kansas State in the top 3, Michigan State in the top 3. They're not even in the top 25 anymore.
Okay.
Early on, wise guys' numbers sharp enough where they could find value in the second half based on that perception. They have the stronger number.
In the second half?
For the second halves.
Okay, so you're saying in general then, when they bet the game itself early in the season, the odds makers are so far off relative to later in the season that the value players for the game itself are doing better. But even at halftime, it's like, okay, I thought Kansas State was overrated coming into this game in November, so I bet against Kansas State. But now at halftime, they're putting out a number that still overvalues Kansas State.
Exactly.
I'm just fading
Exactly, because what they're doing is comparing that second half number to the game number, their own game number, not what the odds makers have out. That's the key here. Early on in the season.
So when you say they, the sharps are
Exactly. For your recreational bettor, that's very difficult to do, to create a stronger number than the odds makers the first month of the season. Let's tell it like it is. Most people don't have the time or the effort,
or ability.
Exactly, to do that. Now, late in the season, the recreational bettor is able to do that by simply using the odds makers' ability to create a strong number against them.
All right, so as the season progresses and it's on a spectrum, is the odds makers' numbers get stronger and stronger. The variance that you have with your true number and the number they ship out decreases, so you have less volume, less super big plays, but you can actually, it sounds like, use their acumen, the odds makers' ability against them.
Exactly.
How do you do that?
And if you look at the results, the final scores, you'll see from January to February, February to March, more and more final results fall closer to the number, a higher percentage of games. Where back in November, December, that's not the case.
So how do you take advantage?
You need to compare the second half line to the game line.
Okay.
That's the key. You're looking for discrepancies, number one. The bigger the discrepancy, the more value. What I mean by that is this. You have a home team. Let's just break it down. You have Team A. They're a 10-point favorite for the game.
Okay.
They're down 10 at the half.
Okay.
The odds maker is going to bring them out as a favorite in the second half.
Okay.
Your average bettor is going to look at that and think there's value on the dog. Obviously, this team's losing by 10, and now you want me to lay more points with them in the second half? But what you need to do is compare that second half line to the first half. In other words, if they bring out Team A in the second half at -5 for the second half, what you're more or less doing is getting them at -5 for the game.
Okay. Well, no, if they come out -5, you're getting them +5 for the game.
For the game,
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
As opposed to -10 before.
So what you're saying is, in general, there's going to be a regression to
the mean or a progression to it. if you're looking for the dog.
And that's a cliche. People use regression to mean, but I think we can clarify that. There's going to be a regression to the outcome that was expected before the game started.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what you're looking for. I mean, your average recreational bettor could take all of 3 seconds to see, is there value just based on the line alone.
Okay. So you're saying, for example, before the game started, the second half line would have been -5 or so, though sometimes there's variation because of fouling or whatever at the end of the game. But let's just say you split the line down the middle. So you take half of the game line. Assume that's the correct second half line. All right. You're saying game circumstances are going to make it where the true second half line varies from that greatly.
Exactly.
And whenever you see that variation, that there's a possibility of value there.
A line value.
Now now let's revert. Do you blindly play that?
Here's the key. I think that the stricter parameters you set, the higher your win percentage will be.
Like anything else?
But based on line value alone, in the long run, you'll turn a profit based on the fact that as the season progresses, as we get to the end of the season, the more efficient the odds makers are, the more efficient the marketplace is, the closer the final results should fall to the number.
All right.
Because
so
of that,
what amount of variance do you need?
That's the key. That's what it comes down to. What's your, how do you put it, your risk tolerance?
Yeah, how much volume do you want?
Exactly. Right. And
so
the higher you set your parameters, the less volume you're going to have. Where there's some guys I know that, you know, they just want a 5-point edge in basketball, and that's enough for them, or 4 points from the number in NFL. Where myself, I want a touchdown edge.
All right, but whoa, back up a second. I'm really enthused with what you're saying, but I think that makes no sense to me. You're saying that in football, your true number in an NFL game is 7 points different ever? I mean, in football, if you're getting 2.5 points, you're happy,
in the
right?
second half.
Okay, so we're talking strictly
strictly second halves. What I'm saying is I'm looking for something where I'm getting a touchdown better than the game
All right, so
line.
let's talk basketball.
CBB.
Oh, we're talking.
CBB.
Oh, we don't got to start this over.
Here's the beauty of this. This is why it should be pay-per-view. You could apply this to any sport.
Yeah, but we'll do a new video for that one,
Okay.
and we'll be able to put a new sign up.
Okay. You're right. Think views. Think views.
All right, but you're throwing me here because I've never been a halftime guy. When I moved to Vegas in January '98, I was hanging down the Stardust a lot, and there was this guy. He had a limp. He used to drag his leg with him. And, I mean, really, he dragged it all around the Stardust in the handicapper's corner. And he used to be top 10 in the world at backgammon. So this was a really smart guy. You get a lot of people here in Vegas, you know, that used to be gaming champions. And they figure, I got these analytical abilities. I can make money from them. And him and a buddy took $250,000 out of the Mirage, I remember, just at half-times.
Yeah, there's a ton of money to be made.
I was always fascinated by that, but I've never met the right person to tutor me on it. But so let me ask you this question. Let's say we want high volume, medium volume, low volume. Give me the amount of variance you want in each of those 3 cases for college basketball.
5, 7.5, 10 plus.
10 plus is low volume.
Yeah.
So on a Wednesday, when there's a ton of games, how many games are going to be 10 plus?
You may find 1 game. 2 games if you're lucky, and that one.
So you're looking at like 6
while
to 8
twittering
games.
One weekend because I set them high parameters, I had to wait till Sunday to find a game.
Now what are you
was
playing?
worth taking a position.
What level are you playing at now?
What do you mean?
Low or high volume, medium volume, or low volume with your halftime action?
I'm doing low volume and increasing my bet size.
Okay. Now
taking bigger positions and looking for a higher winning percentage.
Other than the true math, what are the other factors you consider?
The key here is you got to have information available to you quickly. Obviously, there's 100 statistics you could consider for every basketball game,
and halftime too.
Exactly, but you only have a certain amount of time when it comes to second half. So you have 10 minutes at best, and more importantly, there's hundreds of other wise guys out there that are looking for these exact same numbers. You'll see the line move towards this approach.
Now, that's what I was going to ask you, is if you looked at 100 games that had this high variance between what half of the line is and what the halftime line is, right, what percentage of them are moving towards the side that you're saying to back?
Over 60, 65%.
All right, so play early is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the key. You do want to jump on it because this, honestly, didn't come to me. It was more or less explained to me back when I was moving steam, and I started seeing, like, I was like, why are we taking these teams? Because
They look so bad.
we were jumping on teams that were down 27 at the half, and these guys were licking their chops like we couldn't get enough down for the second half money. Just keep betting it because of that value, that regression, like you say, that regression, progression to the mean, depending whether you're on the favorite or the dog. The quickest factors to look at, number one, that it's funny today.
Other than the raw numbers.
Newsletter.
Okay.
That was today's newsletter. Field goal shooting percentage. That's the quickest stat to look up, and I think one of the key.
Let me guess. If the team you want to back is low, that's a really good thing.
When compared to their season average, and when compared to where they're playing, home or away.
Okay, so you take their season average based on...
They shoot 44%
at
field
home.
goals.
If they're 33 at half and you're getting line value, you love that play. Because the
Even
theory is
more-
that's going to even out.
Even more when the opponent is shooting 56% and their season average is only 41.
Okay, so if you take the variance over and the variance under, over for the team you want to go against and under for the team that you want to back, you add up those two numbers. The bigger the number, the better the play.
Exactly.
Because they're both out of their normal range.
Exactly.
And shooting isn't something, it's like if you're hitting really hard in a football game, the team's up, the energy's good, that might go through the second half. Shooting is something that, especially at halftime, you come out and it's a new half of the game. And that's really sharp. So would you, at 7.5, if you see, so you're really looking like a seesaw, you've got two factors you're really thinking about. How much value, I'm assuming if you get 6 points of value, but the shooting numbers are way off, you might play
Exactly.
two.
Now that's a position. Exactly. And what I like to do, honestly, is as there's a minute left at a half, 2 minutes left into the game, I'm looking at scores and I'm isolating situations, possible situations.
Now what's the best website that it's going to have the quickest update on shooting percentages?
What do you
ESPN.com?
Yeah, that's what I go to because their box score is updated for every game.
All right, real quick, any other factors?
Again,
and don't, if it's complicated, to some degree, simple
keep
is
it.
good.
That's why I love this approach because it is simple. As far as finding line value, all you have to do is compare the second half line to the game line and see what the discrepancy is.
And the second extreme would be if you actually have a team that's shooting better than their average, the other team, let's say, is shooting average, and all of a sudden you're down a lot, that's maybe for a different reason. You're not as inclined to play that game, right?
Exactly.
Because maybe there's the coach is doing something the other coach isn't ready for. Or
Exactly.
they were drunk the night before.
Another quick factor to look at, free throws.
Okay.
We all know after our good Tim Donaghy broke it to us, referees go into the half and talk about the game as well. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that the team I'm backing, one in the back at halftime, has been cheated as far as free throws go.
Okay, so if there's a disparity to your team's disadvantage, you think that's going to even out too?
Especially if that's the home team.
Okay.
Especially if I'm looking for a home team. You're going to see that the refs, especially in college ball, they're going to get swayed by the fans more times than not. And when they see we've only called 4 fouls, on the road team and 12 on the home team, that's going to balance out in the second half. And obviously you're going to look as any key contributor in in foul trouble.
I love it.
If you got two of the top 3 scorers in foul trouble
For your team, you're going to back off.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, very enlightening. A little pull back the curtain on the wise guy lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm philanthropist this year. That's the goal.
You feel like you're giving stuff away.
Sharing this year. I've kept this inside, and I said it's time to let it go and let the bettors of the world destroy the second half market.
Well, I think that we can rest assured the effort that it takes to actually sit there and do this is beyond about 90% of people. I don't think there's much to be scared of. But the 10%, they just learned something big. Real quick, how do you get followed on Twitter? What's your handle?
Vegas Runner.
No space?
Nope. Just twitter.com/Vegas Runner. I send out as much information as I could. I send out late confirmations. I even when I'm there and working on like a Saturday when I'm there all day, or when I'm not getting my teeth worked on, I give this offer. You want to know my true line for any game, just Twitter it to me. If it's not a game,
direct reply to you.
If it's not a game that I'm actually, have my clients on, because it wouldn't be fair to them, I'll give you my true line for any game you want.
Well, that's a great offer. All right, awesome, awesome. All right, well, listen, guys, really good stuff. VR is going to be doing this all, through the rest of the basketball season and onward. And that's it for videos this week. VR is going to be back from VR. Tomorrow we got Marco, and then you're back early next week to
Monday.
take care.
I want to do weekdays too, not just the weekends. Let's give them weekday videos.
Well, next Monday we'll do Tuesday, Wednesday.
Love it.
All right, guys, see you next week.